C-R-I-N. So Crin comes in many different colors. It also comes in many different widths. It also comes in some patterns as well, and I'll show you those in just a moment. I'm just going to cut off a piece of it here and show you that there's quite a few things that you can do with this. And the first thing that I'm going to do is tell you that there is a string along the top side of most Crin, and we're going to use that to our advantage. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pull up this string, and you've probably seen Crin on lots of what I would call church lady hats and like department stores. They'll make bows or rosettes or something like that out of this material. So now I've got a pretty little ruffle, which I could use just like that. Now this raw edge I'm going to have to deal with, and if I just wanted a ruffle, I would just bring that raw edge down, and then depending on how long your piece of Crin is, you might have something very pretty that you might put some feathers sticking out of or something like that. So that's one way to use the Crin, by pulling the string. But what I really want to show you is one of my favorite ways of using the Crin, to just tie a knot in those. So we'll do it about 1, 2, just like 3 knots here, just to make it secure. And then what I'm going to do, looks kind of scary, but it's not. I'm going to cut off, because this is a woven material, and I'm just going to cut off the top edge of this.
The non-string edge.
The non-string edge, of course, yep. And then at first, I just have to make kind of a mess here.
Well, look at that.
But then I'm going to start pulling,
Oh, that's fabulous.
and I'm really just distressing this out.
Oh, it's great.
Everybody see that? And I'm just basically ripping it
All the way up to your
all the way up to where I've sewn it. So I had this wonderful little fascinator, and I don't have it pulled out exactly perfectly yet, because I'd want to work with it some, that I just wore, like, I just wore it right here. And you would think that would drive you crazy, but it doesn't. You just, you just get used to it, because it's not really in your face. So if you were to put that, yeah, on something like that, and then maybe a jeweled button or some feathers or something that would come out from that, it would be really, really exciting look for you to have. So another thing that you can do, rather than just using it just as it comes off the bolt, is you can do another distressing of just pulling it. And getting something that's very, very different. Can everybody see that? If you do want to work it a lot,
What fun.
and what I'm doing is I'm taking that distress and I'm just opening up holes. Another medium that we use quite a bit for embellishment is Sinamay. And the trick to working with Sinamay in many, if not almost all cases that I can think of, is if you want to get any shaping for Sinamay, you have to work it on the bias. You'll have threads or yarns or fibers going top to bottom, the warp, and then you'll have fibers going left to right, which is the weft. And you cannot get any stretch on this or this. You can't get any stretch. But true bias is 45 degrees off of that, 45 degrees, and that's where you're going to get lots of stretch. So if I've got this, it won't stretch this way, and it won't stretch this way, but it will stretch on the bias. I'm just going to show you again a couple of things that you can do with a piece of Sinamay, and I'm just going to cut. And again, this is just down and dirty demoing. I would do a much better job of this if I were making something for somebody or to go in my shop. Now there's my selvage end there. I've got a triangle. So in many cases working with Sinamay, you are going to have a triangle. You're going to have a triangle piece. Now I've got a straight edge here, and I've got a straight edge here, and I've got bias here. So I can, I've got stretch here, but I don't have stretch here. So if I were just wanting to make some pretty little kind of abstract leaves or flower petals or whatever you want to call them, these edges that are on the warp and the weft, I've got to do something with those edges because they're ugly. They're ugly, and there's not really anything I can do with them other than just rolling them. And I'm just going to kind of come around and show you what I'm doing. Oops.
Will they fray if you don't do something with them?
They will fray not beautifully.
Right.
Yes.
So if you
ugly, in other words.
roll it won't fray.
If you roll it, it won't fray. I might just gather this in with a needle and thread. They have a number of these, different colors, different textures, different sizes, whatever. But let me show you what you can do with the outside edge.
Oh, you can do the same kind of frame. That's great. It just changes the personality.
Yeah, and if I gather it up,
Oh, that's great.
now I've got
Feels lovely.
a very different piece.